In a stunning and unexpected move, the Canadian government has officially cancelled its $19 billion purchase of 88 F-35 fighter jets, a decision that has sent shockwaves through the global defense community and surprised both allies and industry insiders alike. This announcement brings an end to a decade-long saga marked by intense political controversy, heated parliamentary debates, and mounting costs that have ballooned far beyond initial estimates. For years, the F-35 program has been a lightning rod for criticism, with opposition parties and watchdog groups questioning its affordability and necessity. Instead of the American-made jets, Ottawa has chosen to acquire a full fleet of Saab Gripen E fighters from Sweden. This bold pivot has left Washington and NATO scrambling to assess the potential fallout, as Canada's decision signals a significant shift in its defense procurement strategy and international alliances. The F-35 was long considered the only viable option for seamless US-Canada defense cooperation under the NORAD agreement, ensuring interoperability with American forces. However, by choosing the Gripen, Canada is charting a new course, prioritizing its own operational needs and strategic interests. The immediate impact was felt on Wall Street, as Lockheed Martin's stock dipped sharply following the news. The Pentagon expressed deep disappointment, calling it the largest and most significant collapse of an F-35 export deal to date, raising questions about the future of the program's international sales. This move challenges the long-held assumption that US allies will always opt for American hardware. Canada's decision places a premium on cost-effectiveness, operational sovereignty, and the unique requirements of Arctic defense, rather than the F-35's advanced but expensive technology. The F-35 program in Canada was plagued by years of political turmoil, technical delays, and growing public skepticism over spiraling costs and concerns about US control over critical systems. Many Canadians questioned whether the F-35 truly met the country's defense needs. By embracing the Swedish alternative, Canada is betting that a more independent and sustainable air force will better serve its long-term interests, even if it means risking diplomatic friction with its closest ally, the United States. The Gripen's proven performance in cold climates and lower operating costs were key factors in the decision. This landmark decision is expected to reshape Allied defense procurement for years to come, prompting other countries to reconsider their own military purchases and alliances. As Canada moves forward with the Gripen, the world will be watching to see how this bold gamble plays out on the global stage. Washington's response was swift and stern, sending shockwaves through diplomatic and military circles on both sides of the border. The message was clear: the United States would not accept any deviation from its preferred path. US officials issued a warning that any choice but the F-35 would force a fundamental reevaluation of NORAD, the joint US-Canada Aerospace Defense Command that has safeguarded North American skies for decades. The implication was that the very foundation of continental defense cooperation could be at risk. In a move that raised eyebrows, US officials threatened to permanently station American F-35s in Canada's north, suggesting that the Royal Canadian Air Force could be sidelined in its own airspace. This was seen as a dramatic escalation, hinting at a future where Canadian sovereignty over its skies might be compromised. The F-35's unique data sharing and advanced sensor fusion were touted as essential for North American defense, with proponents arguing that only a fleet of identical jets could guarantee seamless interoperability. However, many Canadian experts pushed back, insisting that modern technology allows for effective cooperation, even with different aircraft, and that Canada should not be forced into a single option. The American stance was seen by some as a commercial push to protect the F-35 program, not just a security concern. Critics argued that economic interests and the desire to secure jobs and contracts for US companies were driving the pressure as much as any military necessity. In Ottawa, the pressure from Washington was viewed as an affront to national sovereignty, fueling a growing resolve among Canadian leaders to make an independent choice. The sense of being strong-armed by a close ally only deepened the determination to assert Canada's autonomy in defense matters. The debate exposed a deep rift. Was this truly about continental defense, or was it about locking in a lucrative US program and maintaining American influence? The question sparked heated discussions in Parliament and among the public, with many Canadians questioning the motives behind the ultimatum. In the end, Washington's hardline approach may have backfired, strengthening Canada's determination to chart its own course. The controversy galvanized public opinion and united political factions that might otherwise have been divided. The NORAD partnership now faces its biggest test in decades, as both nations grapple with the balance between cooperation and independence in an increasingly complex security environment. Why did Canada pick the Swedish Gripen E over the American-made F-35, a jet often seen as the gold standard in modern air power? The answer comes down to three key factors: reliability, cost-effectiveness, and operational independence. But there's more to the story than just a simple checklist. The Gripen was specifically engineered to handle harsh climates and vast, remote territories, conditions that mirror Canada's own environment, especially in the challenging Arctic regions. Unlike the F-35, which was designed with different priorities, the Gripen's ruggedness and adaptability make it a natural fit for Canada's unique defense needs. Operational costs are another game-changer. The Gripen's maintenance and flying expenses are dramatically lower than the F-35s, which means Canada can afford to keep more jets in the air, conduct more training missions, and allocate resources to other critical military priorities. This cost efficiency translates into a stronger, more flexible Air Force. The deal also includes a full technology transfer, giving Canada unprecedented control over maintenance, upgrades, and future modifications. Unlike the US-controlled F-35 program, where key decisions and software updates require American approval, the Gripen allows Canada to maintain and upgrade its fleet independently, on its own terms. This sovereignty over its own defense assets was a powerful draw for Ottawa, letting Canada tailor its fleet to its specific needs without having to seek Washington's permission for every change or upgrade. The Gripen's advanced radar and electronic warfare suite also make it a formidable interceptor, perfectly suited for NORAD's primary mission of defending North American airspace against potential threats. For Canada, the Gripen's blend of high performance, affordability, and true operational independence offered a smarter, more sustainable path forward, one that balances military capability with fiscal responsibility and national sovereignty. In the end, Ottawa's choice wasn't just about picking a jet, it was a pragmatic bet on what works best for Canadian defense, both now and for decades to come. Canada's decision was shaped by a history of troubled defense contracts and cautionary tales from allies. Past failures, like the problematic UK submarine deal and the decades-long Cyclone helicopter saga, fueled public demand for transparency and value. Reports from F-35 partner nations such as Denmark's struggles with readiness and supply chains validated Canadian skepticism. The Gripen deal promises industrial control and self-sufficiency, breaking the cycle of dependency on foreign-controlled systems. For Ottawa, this was about more than jets. It was about escaping a legacy of procurement headaches. Choosing the Gripen is a step toward true military independence. Washington's reaction was immediate: shock, anger, and a scramble to reassert control. The Pentagon warned of negative impacts on NORAD and reiterated plans to deploy US F-35s in Canada's airspace. US lawmakers called for a review of defense industrial cooperation, threatening Canadian access to lucrative contracts. The collapse of the Canadian deal is a major blow to the F-35 program's business model, risking higher costs for all partners. The US now faces the challenge of finding new buyers and preventing other allies from following Canada's lead. The decision has triggered a crisis of confidence in America's flagship defense project. Trade disputes and a chill in cross-border defense industry cooperation may follow. Canada's move has turned a procurement issue into a test of the US-Canada alliance. Canada's bold move is being watched closely by NATO allies, challenging the unwritten rule of buying American for alliance solidarity. For smaller nations, Canada's choice sets a precedent. It's possible to prioritize national needs and still be a committed ally. The debate over interoperability is now front and center, with Canada siding with Europe's view that common standards matter more than identical jets. This could shift NATO toward a more flexible, diverse approach to modernization, benefiting European defense industries. However, it also exposes growing strategic differences between the US and its allies. While Washington focuses on high-tech dominance, others are prioritizing affordability and industrial benefits. Canada's decision signals that the US model is no longer the only path. How NATO adapts to this new reality will shape the alliance's future. Canada's rejection of the F-35 is more than a procurement decision, it's a declaration of sovereignty. By resisting US pressure, Canada has asserted its right to define its own security interests and defense priorities. The Gripen's focus on reliability and autonomy reflects a uniquely Canadian vision: pragmatic, sustainable, and self-reliant. This move recalibrates the US-Canada relationship, making it more balanced and less deferential. The ripple effects may embolden Canada to take independent stances on other global issues. In the end, this is about identity, a middle power finding its voice and betting on its own capabilities. Canada's choice marks a new chapter for its Air Force and its place on the world stage.